He told us that it was cancerous, but still in stage 1 at that point. And he thought surgery could save me, but I needed to see an oncologist for a referral to a surgeon. In our first meeting with the oncologist, he told us that if they removed the tumor in the pancreas, it would save my life.
And that it was still early enough to do that.
It's still early enough to do that at that point. I had no insurance. The surgeon wanted a little over $10,000 in advance cash to perform the surgery. UMC also wanted around $6,000 cash in advance before they would schedule the surgery.
That's why it took so long.
So my friends did fundraisers. We raised the money to do that and paid the hospital and paid the doctor. And then they scheduled the surgery on November 4th.
So 6 weeks?
6 weeks was a long time to wait with
nerve-wracking,
it was
time.
Very hard on us, both emotionally and financially, to make it through that period. When the surgeon opened me up, he discovered that the tumors had spread. The pancreatic tumor had grown through the pancreatic wall and attached itself to the stomach. There were numerous tumors in my liver, a spot in the kidney that was yet unknown at that point, and the pancreatic tumor had attached to the spleen and was involved with the arteries. The bottom line was they had to pull the cameras out, pull their instruments out, sew me back up, and discontinue the surgery because it had spread. At that point, they diagnosed it as stage 4. While I was still in recovery, the doctor took my wife, Kathy, to the side, told her to give me palliative care. There was nothing more that could be done with surgery, and that any further treatments would have to go through the oncologist.
That was so horrible.
It was very difficult to take. Then we went back to the oncologist on December 18th, and he told us the cancer had metastasized and spread throughout my body. He said that I could start declining in about 3 weeks and starve to death within a month. There was nothing they could do, that he could not cure me of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. There was no cure. He said the most the chemo would do would be keep it from spreading any further and may extend my life 6 to 8 months maximum. What I have here are my lab trends, starting from the first time I saw the oncologist. The panel is called the tumor markers. How many cancer cells are found in a blood sample per unit? On the 19th of September, my cancer cell count was 287. 2 weeks after the attempted pancreatomy, my cancer cell count had gone from 287 to 1,406.7. Less than a month later, on December 18th, my cell count had gone up to 4,587.8.
And that's when I thought he was going to die.
On the day after Christmas, I went in and started my chemo. The cancer cell count on that day was up to 5,006.8, which the doctor explained was saturation level. Cancer was all through my body. Basically, I was so desperate that I decided to have a party right before Christmas, invited all my friends and family from all over the country to come and say goodbye to. And one of them, actually a number of them, came from Colorado. I don't know who, but one of my relatives, our friends, put a bunch of little vials of Phoenix tears in Kathy's Christmas stocking.
My stocking. About 15 of these.
This is Phoenix tears. Phoenix tears are made using some sort of solvent base. The marijuana is cooked on a very low temperature for a long period of time until what's produced is an oil.
It's very gooey.
Very gooey. It doesn't taste very good. The only way for it to help cancer is for it to be ingested. The psychological effects caused by marijuana are not really present taking the Phoenix tears. When I first heard about it, I thought it was snake oil. I didn't believe it. I thought it was propaganda for the pro-marijuana legalization movement. But with such a bad prognosis that I would start declining in around 3 weeks and could be dead in a month, I figured at that point I had nothing to lose, including my reputation. So I began taking the Phoenix tears. I took about 2 to 3 grams of it every day, not knowing what would happen or if it would do any good. So I began searching for a medical marijuana doctor that could help me pursue this cure. Fortunately, I found a Dr. Kathleen Smith who helped me obtain my medical marijuana license. I took it faithfully the remaining few days of December and every day in January, and didn't begin to believe it until my test came back in February.
You still didn't believe it after those scans.
Showing my
He didn't believe
cancer
it
cell
was an
count
error.
was down. I thought it was an error. I still was believing what the oncologist and the surgeon had told me, and still could not believe either in the Phoenix tears or a divine miracle either. The Phoenix tears, along with the 2 chemo medications, gemcitabine and Abraxane, has definitely proved effective. I cannot say for sure whether the Phoenix tears could have done the same by themselves. I would like to say that, and that's what I believe. But the fact is, together, the 3 of those have eaten up, disintegrated my cancerous tumors. Multiple tumors in my liver are gone. My spleen, gone. My stomach wall, gone. My kidneys, gone. Only thing remaining is a very small portion of what was my pancreatic stage 1 tumor. At last count, my blood cell count had dropped to 312.2 on February 6th, to 80.1 on March 6th, to 42 on March 30th. Normal is 35. I will continue the Phoenix tears the rest of my life. I've already chosen to make that step. I will discontinue the chemo as soon as the tumors are gone. I believe the cannabis oil will control my tumor or cure it completely.
He's doing so much better. He's working. He's driving. Working. Like going to work 5 days a week. He's playing with the kids. It's a miracle. Thank God. Thank God.
The endocannabinoid system is present and active inside your body, even if you don't use marijuana. I'd just like to make a little social commentary on that video itself. Now, that's not the entire video. I chopped it up a little bit, but I do have to say that man had not a good set of doctors. He didn't have the insurance nor the money to be able to even have the surgery, and had to raise money, as you heard. And in fact, some of the information that I heard him say is not even relevant to stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So that is just my little insert, that the things that he was told is a big part of the problem. When you get told, or if you get told that you've only got a short while left to live, your mental state declines greatly to the pits of hell, in fact. So the last thing you need is a date. I never thought I'd say that coming from an astrologer. The last thing you need is a date. What you need is a persistent fight from within, a realization that doctors do not know everything, but also a logical mind that you wouldn't just go and do it and not have chemotherapy or not do what. Some people can, some people do. Logic is so important. And that poor man had nowhere else to go. You know, by chance, just by chance, he cured himself through that oil. Was it perchance? Of course it wasn't. Imagine looking at his transits. Imagine looking at that man's transits and progressions. It would be insane. So I had to just put my penny's worth in. He had poor treatment. He had poor words spoken to him from his own doctors and oncologists. And I don't believe that any doctor should ever give a time frame. Luckily for this man, he had a wonderful friend or relative that knew. And from there on in, he cured his own stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So let's learn a little bit. Please bear with me. This is important to me. And you'll get it if you watch. Just if you've got a spare half an hour, please. If you don't, pause it and come back and then watch it. If you only ever watch one video, just watch this one. After pulling myself together, after watching that, I wanted to talk about something different than astrology. Amazingly relates to astrology. But what I want to discuss is the endocannabinoid system. Now, everything that man said is relative. So, I've known about Rick Simpson and Rick Simpson oil for a very, very long time. But I've never really had the need to look into it until now. Of course, human nature. Well, it's not necessarily true. I did look into it before because I've had friends that have had children that have seizures and all different ailments that in America had turned to CBD, THC treatments. But I want to backtrack because I don't think enough people know the relevance and the importance, and then what then turns into the despicableness of the medical system in regards to the cannabinoid system. I am not talking about marijuana plants, drugs, etc. I am talking about the endocannabinoid system. So how many people learnt about the endocannabinoid system at school. I certainly didn't. These people say they've known about the endocannabinoid system for approximately 25 years. So my very, very first point is we get taught about the endocrine system. We get taught about every other system in the body. Why has this one been left out? There's a few reasons. One is legalisation. The other, two reasons that I can think of, the other is that they don't know enough about it, so they just don't want to talk about it at all. Now, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of things. If you've ever been dubious about looking after your own health or understanding what your body does and how it can heal itself, I think you'll be really interested in listening to this. Now, like I said, it's not an astrology video, but I had to make it. And it actually came from knowledge through astrology. My transits, my husband's transits. My husband has Uranus retrograde on his sun at the moment. So we were hit with the most unexpected, terrible news that you can imagine. I have Uranus on my ascendant, and it's making some pretty good aspects to some areas. So I used my brain and extended it further and further and further until I thought, if I don't make this video, I'm an idiot. So here I go. The human endocannabinoid system. It is an actual system within our body, okay? The most well-known cannabinoid receptors, CB1 and CB2, are proteins that are embedded in the membranes of cells. These surface proteins are then attached to another protein that determines the signaling direction, activation, or inhibition. So here we go here. CB1 receptors, and I'll explain how this relates to Rick Simpson oil as well, but bear with me. CB1 receptors are these dark. They stimulate and activate or inhibit, or whatever they do, is appetite, immunity, motor activity, motor coordination, pain, memory, and thinking. Okay, so let's put that into diseased areas. Appetite, eating disorders, we'll put that there. Immune cells, cancer. Motor activity and coordination, MS, multiple dystrophy, neuron diseases, pain, memory and thinking, very basic. CB2 receptors target these things here, and they're mostly in our peripheral organs, especially cells associated with the immune system. Okay, so these are the light green ones everywhere, all over the body here. They affect our tissue, bone, the cardiovascular system, the central nervous system, our eyes, our gut, our immune system, our kidneys, our liver, our pancreas, reproduction, respiratory, skeletal, skin, and tumours. Okay, now this is nothing to do with cannabis, this is to do with the body. That's exactly what happens in our body. Always has, always will. Now, this site isn't a government site, but believe me, I've got some to show you. But this one in particular, it's got an interesting statement. The endocannabinoid system is present and active inside your body, even if you don't use marijuana. Okay, so it's there. When you look at the term endocannabinoid, you'll see endo, which is short for endogenous, meaning it's produced in your body naturally. Cannabinoid, which comes from cannabis, but not only cannabis, by the way, therefore endocannabinoid really means cannabis-like substances that occur inside you naturally. The pathway in the body consists of several parts. The endocannabinoids, which our bodies naturally synthesize, enzymes, which break down cannabinoids and endocannabinoids, and receptors around our body in the nervous system that cannabinoids and endocannabinoids bond with. So not only is it a natural part of your body, it is a critical one. Extremely critical. Research suggested they were present only in the nerves and the brain. However, later on, they found out that they're in the entire body: bones, skin, pancreas, liver, fat, blood, heart. Arguably, endocannabinoids are one of the most versatile and widespread signaling molecules humans know. It's not written very well, but anyway. Let's move on to something even more deep and interesting. Okay, so the purpose of all of the activities that the endocannabinoid system does, because it's extremely complex, adds to homeostasis. And homeostasis is what we need for perfect inner condition. To not get cancer, to not get sick, to not have all of the ailments that are going on. So we've got more information here about the receptors in the body. Endocannabinoids can tie to either receptor. CB1 receptors are situated in the cerebellum and all through the body, while CB2 receptors are found for the most part in the resistant and gastrointestinal system. Even though CB2 receptors are additionally found in mind, they are not communicated very as thickly as CB1 receptors. Furthermore, THC ties more near the CB1 receptor than the CB2. So these people are showing how they're learning about what's going, they're just learning it. Like, why are they just learning this when it's been around for 25 years? I don't know. There's something called clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, where our body doesn't have enough of it naturally. Okay, now I'm not just talking CBD, I am talking CBD and THC together when I'm discussing all this, not just CBD. And I'm going to explain why, because you would have heard and read a lot of crap about how CBD is the thing that you need. That is not the case. It needs to be combined with THC to heal illness. So let's keep looking. So for those of you that are like, what do you mean the endocannabinoid system? Here we go on Wikipedia. Tells us all about it and how important it is and what it does and all those things I told you, and a whole bunch of little numbers and letters, etc. Tells us about how it helps the immune system, analgesia, sleep regulation, cannabinoids in plants. The endocannabinoid system is by molecular phylogenetic distribution of apparent ancient lipids in the plant kingdom. Before you're like, whatever, I'm going to show you something really interesting. Cannabis isn't the only thing that has the the terpenes, which is what's needed, basically, terpenes, and all the other omegas and enzymes and everything. Cannabis isn't the only thing that has that. So have a look at this. Okay, these are terpenes, which are these little shiny things on marijuana, on cannabis. Okay, that's just one example. These little crystals are called myrcene terpenes. Okay, terpenes, natural terpenes. Mangoes, people might have heard that if you smoke marijuana and eat a mango, it'll enhance the high. It's true, it does, because it's full of terpenes. All of these things here have natural terpenes in them that are related to our endocannabinoid system over here. Now here's an even better picture. Endocannabinoid system. The brain, the nose, the mouth, the gastrointestinal tract, the pancreas, insulin secretion, diabetes that is, the liver, the muscles, the tissue, the whole body. You can even just type it into Google, the endocannabinoid system for dummies, and it tells you exactly what it does. Now, the one thing you have to do is be extremely discerning with your information, especially these days. So I'm very, very discerning with it. What I'm finding and what I've noticed is chemists, people that are, quote, unquote, legalising CBD are not in fact utilising the CBD completely. A lot of the things that you may get is purely CBD, not THC. It's not going to do the job that it needs to do. So aside from those natural products, the best plant in the entire world to make sure that you have all of those receptors that work to make you not ill are in a cannabis plant. Which leads me to Rick Simpson. Oh, before I go to Rick Simpson, I'll just show you here that we have a National Institute of Health Medicine library resource that talks about cannabinoids beyond the cannabis plant. This tells you everything about cannabis. You can read all of this. It tells you about the cannabinoid system and everything. They know what it does. Here's the terpenes. Okay? I'm not going to read it all because you'll switch off. I understand that. But they know. Now, instead of using the plant, they want to make it synthetically. Now, why? Why would you do that? As I've said in my last video, everything on Earth is connected. Why on earth wouldn't you use the plant itself instead of synthesizing something? Well, the reason why that is because nobody would make any money if you could fix yourself. So now I'll go over to Rick Simpson. Rick Simpson invented RSO, or Phoenix Tears, or Rick Simpson oil, a combination of CBD and THC. Look at this. He cured his own cancer by rubbing the oil on tumours. They vanished, and he was arrested. Okay? You can keep looking, and it just carried on where he's like arrested and arrested and arrested and arrested and arrested. The dude knows what he's talking about. Believe me, he knows what he's talking about. And the poor man is consistently arrested for curing his own cancer and helping other people cure their ailments. What sort of society are we living in where we can't cure ourselves? We're living in a shit one, I can tell you that much. But I, for one, am not going to be somebody that sits back and lets somebody else dictate the health of myself, my partner, and my family, and my loved ones. And that's why I had to make this video, because this is so important. So important. And all I can say is that it's going to be what I'm doing. Well, I can't say too much about that. Have, will, do, whatever. So, if for some reason you decided, I think I might need some of this Rick Simpson oil, it sounds like magic. The Happy Cooking Club. This lady knows her stuff. Reddit. They know their stuff. Do not follow any old alcohol extraction type thing to try and make Rick Simpson oil. So I wanted to show this. It's important that people know where to go and where to look. It's also really important to understand how to take it. And how to dose it. Okay, so for things such as cancer, that man on that video was taking a lot. That's actually a lot. Good on him that he could handle taking a lot, because it's pretty strong stuff, this stuff. The goal is to consume 60 grams of RSO over 90 days. That's it. Now, why aren't we privy to having this? Imagine how much money would be taken out of the world, and the big pharma, the doctors, the hospitals and everything. Can you just even wrap your head around the nightmare that it would become for the government and society related to health that this stuff coming out would be? So, I don't even know. I'm making this on a whim. I really hope people watch it. I really hope you're watching it. If I could recommend anything, it's use this time at the moment where there's chaos going on and all sorts of crazy stuff. Use Uranus to its utmost. Think hard and understand things. If you need help looking after yourself, if you're in pain, if you have toothache, if you have diabetes, if you have so many things, you can look after yourself. Okay, this is not just a load of shit. This is not just me saying, go and get some CBD. I'm trying to explain it so you completely understand that it is very important that it is made properly or bought from Rick Simpson or through however you can in America. See here, Rick Simpson oil contains 600 milligrams of THC, used from indica plants, which is important. So it is important, really important, to have that THC in there. Let's read this conclusion from that National Library place that's got all its sources and everything. I'll leave a link. Cannabinoids are a large and important class of complex compounds that have promising therapeutic potential for treatment of a variety of diseases, including cancer. In this review, we focused on studies that provided evidence for anti-cancer effects of plant-derived and synthetic cannabinoids. I don't know about that. I don't like that. And their potential mechanisms of action. Cannabinoids were able to effectively modulate tumour growth in different cancer models, etc., etc. Understanding how they are able to modulate essential cellular processes involved in tumorigenesis, or growing tumours, and the progression through the cell cycle and cell death, as well as interactions between cannabinoids and the immune system, are crucial for improving existing medications and developing new therapeutic approaches. Legislation is the problem. So I'll end up by saying this. If the sun can shoot vitamin D and a million other enzymes and chemicals and atoms and everything through our bodies, through Earth, through the universe, and every other planet can, and plants grow from the ground, and we are, where did we come from? We're stardust. We need to wake up and look after ourselves. It's all connected. Why wouldn't we use everything natural? I highly recommend, for ultimate health, and this is not just me saying this because I'm not a diet person, I'm not a health nut, nothing like that, but I will recommend this. pH levels in our body needs to be kept perfect. If you don't know if your pH level is good or not, get it tested. You can buy a strip. If it's low, take 1/4 teaspoon of bicarb soda in a glass of water each day. That'll make your pH level good. Cells love alkaline. They don't like acidic. Okay, so our body doesn't like to be too acidic. That's one thing. Another thing, cruciferous vegetables, greens, anything green is highly, highly potent in helping all different diseases. Sugar is another big thing. Okay, I like sugar. I have sugar. Everyone does. But if you're a diabetic and you're having a low and you need to go high, don't have a chocolate with all the chemicals in it. Have a banana with the natural sugars in it, and watch how the difference that will make. I'm actually going to be, I'm very, very much considering making a new channel related to health, astrology, everything that I've learnt, everything that I will learn, because I believe that we need to share more futuristic, I suppose you would call it. It's not, it's old, but we need to get information out here. And this type of information excites me. It intrigues me. It angers me because I never even knew that the endocannabinoid system was so important, let alone that we lack in the CB receptors. And that lacking in CB receptors gives us cancer, diabetes, skin conditions, pain, every single thing you can imagine. I hope so much that you watched that. I hope that you don't mind that it wasn't about astrology. It's important to me. It's important for the people that I love and know to know what I know. And I know that we need to start thinking ahead and looking after ourselves. This video might get pulled down, I'm not sure. I'm not monetizing it, I'm not doing anything like that. Hopefully it stays up, and I really, really, really hope it helped somewhat. If you have any thoughts that that type of cure is illegal and silly, please reconsider. Please reconsider everything, actually, because we don't know very much of anything as humans. Okay, guys, I'm going to show you a video coming up soon of William Tyrrell, because they're going to find him. I did a video in 2020, and yeah, it mapped it. So let's get into that one next. But thank you for watching, and I appreciate it if you did watch it all the way through. If you liked it, hit the button. You don't have to. I don't mind. You know me. Take care, guys.